But then we tried to make our way home and this happened. Charity shop town review. And this week we're in Bromley, which is technically in Kent if you're gonna go off like postcodes and stuff like that, but I'm gonna class it as London just for the sake of the video. But Bromley had a staggering 6 different charity shops. But that puts it joint second on the list, but it puts it third for the number of towns that we've been to that begin with a B. God, that is literally a pure coincidence. But the first charity shop that we hit up was this Bernardo's charity shop, and as I headed in I grabbed some hand sanitizer and literally eye level with the hand sanitizer, if that's the correct saying. Eye level with the hand sanitizer, it was my eye level when I leant down to get the hand sanitizer at least. But I see these Nike blazers and not gonna lie, my eyes kinda lit up because recently I tried to buy some Nike blazers off ASOS and it was the biggest stress. I placed my order, I was waiting like 2 weeks and I kind of thought, what's going on? Like, where's my order? I messaged them and after about 2 weeks of messaging, I finally got that they'd been lost pretty much, or that the warehouse just pretty much didn't pack them, so I ended up getting a refund for them. But I still really wanted them, and not gonna lie, I still really want them. So best believe when I see this pair I was so gassed. But this pair had some weird lettering on the side, so I was kind of thinking what's going on with this pair, and then I looked inside and it said samples, and literally I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Because I know I've heard of samples before in the past going for loads. I know these probably won't go for loads, but they'll probably go for a little bit more just where they are samples. But putting the fact that they were samples and the fact of that little ASOS story I just told you about, I knew I was 100% going to end up coming away with these. Especially considering they were only £25 and they were literally dead stock. But quickly, before heading to the checkouts to purchase the blazers, I quickly looked at the rest of the men's clothes and literally they were so dead, like so dead, like to a whole nother extreme. There was literally nothing in there. Even though the clothes were dead, they had even more banging shoes. They had these like low top Nike blazers which looked pretty beat. They were only like £15, but I wasn't going to be picking them up considering the condition they were in. They were in a state. And then there was these yellow Prestos which I thought were kind of sick, but for £40 considering I pretty much knew I was going to get the blazers, I weren't really feeling paying £40 for another pair of shoes that I personally weren't going to wear, and for £40 I weren't going to be able to make too much profit on. So I ended up heading over to the checkout to purchase the blazers, but I had to stand in the queue for ages. So I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like every time I end up going in charity shops there's always a woman at the till that ends up talking to the person behind the till for about 5 minutes, and it's always really awkward because the woman behind the till always tries to like hurry them along because there's a fat queue forming, but the woman doesn't seem to get the hint. But once I finally got to the front of the queue, I ended up paying for the Nike blazers and taking them home with me, and I think this is the bargain of the century. This is probably the best thing I've ever picked up from a charity shop. Literally, they've even still got the little like sample tag on them. They're literally dead stock. They've never been worn. No creases, no nothing. They've even got like the original bit of cardboard like inside of them. And as well, another thing to prove, they've literally never been worn. They've even got like the original lacing on them. But this was the weird writing that I was talking about on the side. It says G7M, C7M, Joy. Like, what does that even mean? But I think it's been printed on rather than written on because it's exactly the same on both shoes. But that'll probably kind of affect the value just a little bit. But to be honest, I think I might just keep these for personals. As I said, I really wanted a pair of blazers. I think these are going to be a little bit snug though, where they are a size 9 and I'm a 9.5, but I'm going to make them work. Hello? Who's there? Bargain of the century? Alright. Oh dear, I do find myself too funny. God, but what's that inside of these blazers? Oh, it's a like button. If you haven't already liked this video, it'd be so appreciated if you could. It helps me out so much more than you think, and as well, it means we can go to even bigger and better towns in the future. But then I tried to hit up this Oxfam charity shop, but unfortunately it was shut, which was a little bit gutting, but it was Bank Holiday Monday, so that was probably the reason why. But to make the news of the Oxfam shop being shut a little bit better, I had a latte waiting for me, which was from Starbucks, and it had almond milk in it, and it was so nice. So that kind of softened the blow a little bit. But then I ended up going in this sweet shop because I wanted to buy some fudge or some root beer, because I really fancied some fudge. And as well, I've been looking for this zero sugar root beer for so long now, and I could not believe my eyes when I went in there and they actually had some. I was so gassed, but I haven't even tried it yet, so let's go grab it from downstairs. And now we've got it. But I've waited to open this on camera, so I hope you appreciate my wait for this. I've been so gassed to try this. Ooh. I choked on it. I'm gonna have to put it down before I drink it all. That was absolutely amazing. It was everything I'd expected of it or hoped of it. I can't actually get over how good that was. I'm gonna have to go again. But as well, in this shop, they had one other thing that I really liked the look of, and it was this brownie and peanut butter Snickers. Am I the only one who has never heard of that Snickers? I didn't even know that existed, but it sounds so good. But it doesn't sound £3.50 good, which was how much it cost, so I didn't end up picking that up. £3.50 is a lot of money for a chocolate bar. But going back to charity shops, a couple of doors down was this Scope charity shop, so I headed inside and I headed straight over to the men's section, and the first rail that I hit up was the polos and t-shirts rail. And the first item I come across was this Arsenal shirt, but it was £6.50, so I weren't really feeling that. That was not going to be worth my time at all. But there was nothing else on the bottom rail, so I headed up to the top rail and I come across this Kellogg's t-shirt, which I thought looked the absolute craze. So I gave it a little search in my Depop to see how much people were listing up items like that for, and I only came across one, and it was up for £30, which isn't too bad. But as I thought about it, I continued to go through the rest of the items, and a couple of t-shirts down was this ASOS top, which had a funny looking tag hanging off it, so I thought I'd investigate. And the tag said that this ASOS top had been used in like an ASOS photo shoot, which I thought was so cool. Even though it had been though, I don't think it really would have sold for anything more on my Depop, which is in the description. So I continue to go through the rest of the stuff, and then I come across this Fila t-shirt, which I thought looked pretty sick. It was a bit of like an older, like vintagey kind of looking Fila t-shirt, so I went to investigate it, and I found it was only £4.50, so I knew I was 100% going to be coming away with this item because it had no stains on it as well. And as I had also hit the end of that rail, I decided I'm going to go back for that Kellogg's t-shirt because it said Fruity Pebbles on it, to be honest.
You run around here looking like a big fat bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
And that clip was ringing in my head. If you watched WWE at that time, you're a real OG. That's when I used to watch it. That was when WWE was 100% at its peak. But then I went to go look at the shoes, and I see these shoes that kind of look like they were Yeezys. But I think that was the whole kind of point of those shoes. I think they were designed to kind of look like Yeezys. But next to the Yeezy lookalikes were a pair of Vans. Caught 2 pairs of Vans in 2 weeks at charity shops. But these Vans were even more beat up than the pair that we found in Maidstone, so I knew I 100% was not going to be picking these ones up. But then I quickly went to go look at the shirts as well, mainly for the fact I see this shirt that looked like it was a Versace shirt, but it didn't end up being a Versace shirt. It was just a random brand. I was so disappointed. But then I headed over to the coats, and I see this Barber coat, which was £40, which if it was in my size I might have picked up for personal, but for £40 I don't know what the profit margins would have been like for it on my Depop, so I ended up giving that a miss. But I ended up heading over to the till and paying for the 2 t-shirts, which I've got here, which I'll show you now. And we'll start off with the Kellogg's t-shirt, which I thought was pretty sick. And I've just noticed it doesn't even say Fruity Pebbles, it says Fruit Loops. So the biggest reason I bought it wasn't even real in a way. I'm kind of gutted about that, to be honest. Oh, well, that's probably killed the value of it quite a lot. And as well, I've just seen that it says on the tag, Department ASOS. So that was probably a bit of a flop pickup, but if this fits me, I might keep it, but to be honest, it looks like it's going to be way too big. So really, that was quite a flop. I'm quite disappointed about that. But then onto the feeler t-shirt, which is going to save the day. It is literally just a grey and red feeler t-shirt. It's quite a nice tee. For only £4.50, I think this was quite a steal. I should be able to get at least 15 for this on my Depop, maybe even 20. But then literally next door to this shop was this British Heart Foundation store, so I headed on inside. And as normal, I headed over to the men's section, but not as normal. I started off with the jeans. This just felt weird doing this. I never normally start with the jeans, but that was the first thing I come across, which is also quite weird. Normally the first thing is like the t-shirts, but there was absolutely nothing in the jeans. So I then headed over to the t-shirts, started flicking through them, and I found once again absolutely nothing. The clothing section was very dry in this charity shop. The only thing that I looked at were these shoes. The only reason I ended up even looking at these shoes was because I was trying to figure out why they were so squished and like wrinkled. I don't think the camera does it justice for how like weird these shoes actually looked in person. There was literally nothing in this charity shop, so I ended up cutting out of there. And at this point in the day, it was about 12:30 in the afternoon, so I was starting to get quite hungry. But then I see this restaurant called Miso, and I headed over there and I see that they did steamed dumplings, so I had to go inside. I've been looking to try steamed dumplings for so long now, and this is the first place that I've seen that do them, so it was kind of a no-brainer that I was gonna end up going into this restaurant. But then once we sat down, of course, I ordered some vegetable steamed dumplings, but I also ordered this soup, which had noodles, it had some green stuff in it, but it also had prawns, it had squid, it had mussels, it had crab, and as well it had fish cakes. So there was pretty much a whole ocean in this bowl. Would you have ordered something like this, or is this one of your biggest nightmares? To me, this sounded very intriguing, but ended up being a very good option. It was absolutely amazing. My only complaint for this restaurant was that my dumplings came out about 10 minutes after the mains, but they were absolutely amazing, so I can't complain too much. As I said, they were vegetable ones. They had loads of different vegetables in, but what vegetables exactly, I could not tell you because I had absolutely no idea. But them and my whole meal was absolutely amazing. But once we cut out of there, I headed over to this other charity shop called Alice's Attic, and I tried to head inside, but I found out it was shut, so I was kind of gutted about that. But once again, I think it was just where it was Bank Holiday Monday. But then I see another charity shop which actually was open this time, and it was this cancer research charity shop. But this was hands down the worst charity shop that we'd been in all day, without a doubt. It was so dead. There was literally only 2 items in this whole shop that I looked at for more than a second, and one of them was this £15 Tommy Hilfiger polo. And yes, you've heard that correctly, £15 Tommy Hilfiger polo, which is kind of extortionate for a charity shop. That was not going to be worth my time at all. But there was also this dragon top, which I thought was kind of cool looking, but once again, for £4.50, it just really wasn't going to be worth my time, so I ended up just cutting out of there. But then we tried to make our way home, and this happened. We were confronted with about 3 or 4 police cars, police tape, and police and train station security blocking the train station entrance. So we we ended up having to get an Uber to the next train station along because they said they have no clue when the train station was going to reopen again. And while I was in the Uber, I googled the reason for the train station being shut, and I found out that one of the train station employees had been stabbed. Yes, you've heard me correctly. One of the train station employees had been stabbed, and the reason for it was that they'd ask a person for their ticket and then they just got stabbed in the shoulder. Like, apparently that was literally it. Like, that's so stupid. I feel so bad for the train station employee, literally just doing his job, asking someone for a ticket and then getting stabbed in the shoulder for literally nothing. But after the 20-minute long Uber journey, we finally ended up at our next train station and actually got on the train about 2 hours later than we thought we were going to. But at least we were getting home in one piece. But let's get into the overall rating for Bromley. And I'm going to rate Bromley over 5 different categories, which are the stock the charity shops had, pricings for all the items in the charity shops, parking for the town, the overall area of Bromley, and as well the food. And for the stock in the charity shops, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. We came away with some bangers, and as well there was so much other great stock there. For the pricings in the charity shops, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. They were quite good, but some of the items were quite expensive. For the parking, even though we didn't park, I parked there before, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It is very expensive to park there. For the overall area, obviously it doesn't look too good with what happened at the train station, but I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It may not be the safest area, but it was so nice. There was loads of different shops to go in. You could spend a good day there. And for the food that I got, I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. It was so peng. I really enjoyed it. But that gives Bromley an overall score of 32, which puts it right at the top of the list. It is currently our new leader and currently the best town to go to the charity shops that we've been to so far. But if you have enjoyed this video, if you could like it, it would mean the world. It does so much for me and this channel. It would mean so much. And as well, if you haven't already subscribed, what's going on? You're going to be missing out on so much great content. And as well, if you could subscribe to help me hit 1k by the end of the year, it'd be very much appreciated. But that is it for the Bromley charity shop town review. I really do hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one.